Are you ready for this?
Uh-oh.
This is funny. Iran.
Iran.
Tehran, your sun on the Imcelli, which is like home, right? Your sun, your Mercury, and your Venus go right through Tehran.
Oh, man.
That is funny, huh?
That is hilarious.
I'll tell you,
but
not
that's
a bad
really
place.
cool, too.
I'll tell you, not a bad place. Brazil.
Brazil.
Yeah. Let's see, the eastern part of Brazil, with Bahia, that area. Your sun is on the descendant there. Mercury's on the descendant, Venus on the descendant. So the Brazil could be a very, very lively place for you.
Wow. Oh, that's so cool.
So Brazil and Miami, they're kind of alike. That's not, they're not too far apart.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So maybe if you have some extra income, here's what I would suggest you do. I would suggest you take a vacation to Brazil.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is awesome. That is really cool.
Yeah, so go hang out in Brazil and then see what it's like, and maybe you'll meet a really,
right.
beautiful being there, and you'll want to hang out there.
That's right. That's true.
Yeah.
That is really cool. Thank you.
All right. Hey, thank you, James. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you so much.
All right. See ya.
Bye-bye.
All right, 11:29 here on the left coast. You're listening to Navigating the Astrological Matrix. I'm your host, Robert Phoenix. And what do we want to talk about? Where do we want to go? Let me give you the number, 347-308-8995, 347-308-8995. Friday, on the Friday show, I will have Dr. James Pruitt in. We'll be talking about ancient aliens and our genetic relationship to space beings. And then I think I'm going to have Joshua Hart on, and we're going to talk about smart meters again, find out more about what's going on with that, revisit that. They've now attached smart meters to gas mains. So it is part of the evolving grid, the surveillance grid. That's where we are. We'll talk more about the surveillance grid, especially as it might relate to Uranus and Aries, right after this call. Hello, you're on the air.
Hi, is that you, Robert?
It's me.
It's Frank. How are you?
Frank.
Hey, I'm holding in there, huh?
Man.
This Mayan calendar thing was really interesting. The Mayan calendar ends, and I started falling apart. So, anyways, I was calling in part of the Minder's theme, the sun in the 12th house.
Yeah.
That's me. So I was wondering if you saw anything here, just with this health thing I'm going through.
Let me see. I might have you on my chart here, Frank. Let me just go back in here. Let's see. Yeah, I've been thinking about you, man. Last few days. Like, where is he? Where is he? He's popped up in a while. I was thinking maybe you got sick of me.
That's not going to happen.
All right. Let's go. So there you are. I got your chart lined up, ready to go.
Yeah, I got this all started on the exact, at the beginning of the Saturn return was supposed to have been on the 28th, 29th of October.
Right.
I think it's supposed to be exact on the 14th, if I'm remembering
right. That's right. That's when it started.
Yeah, it started on the afternoon of the 29th.
Well, it also crossed Neptune, right? Saturn, Neptune, it can be health stuff.
Yeah, so it's I've got a huge pain tolerance type of thing or whatever. I can put up with a lot of things, and I was thinking this was some kind of I'd had some Chinese food left over. I thought maybe I'd given myself some food poisoning or something to start with, but so it was kind of self-treating for about 4 days. Ended up in the ER and then back back home with medication, and then it wasn't working and had to go in for the surgery. So.
Yeah.
Does this any of this deal with my Chiron at all, or?
I was looking at your Chiron. You know, Pluto is inching up, getting closer to your Chiron. It's still 5 degrees away, so I mean, it's a wide conjunction. I mean, I'd be a little more alarmed if Pluto was closer. You know, but it's still, I mean, you're still, you know, within a 5 degree, so you've got some cushion with Chiron. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
So, I mean, the cool thing, Frank, is that, you know, pretty soon you're going to be, you know, working with your solar return, and that is always a time of vitality. You know, Venus is getting closer to your sun. It'll be conjunct your sun on Friday. Mercury will be conjunct your sun. One of the things that I think will happen with the Venus-Mercury conjunction is I think you're going to get some more insight into, you know, what you're experiencing and maybe why you're experiencing it. So that could be anything from a test coming back to maybe your own personal revelation. It could be something that you find on the internet that jumps out and says, you know, this is exactly what I've been going through. Or it could be even something perhaps more, for lack of a better term, mystical. So you could have a revelation in a dream, which would be right in line with the 12th house. So, I mean, at the very least, Mercury, Venus will give you, now those aren't necessarily classically, you know, energetic planets, but it will give your sun some cushion and, again, the ability to have some clarity and insight. The solar return will certainly give you a boost, which is good. Now, the other thing, too, is you've got Jupiter. You know, Jupiter has been retrograde, Frank, and, you know, we all love Jupiter, but sometimes when Jupiter goes retrograde, we will experience the reverse of Jupiter. So Jupiter in Taurus is supposed to be, you know, good health and you know, beneficence and bounty and abundance. You know, and what have we seen during Jupiter's retrograde run? We've seen this whole Occupy Wall Street movement, which is, you know, the separation of the classes and the focusing on the 1%. It's a total Jupiter retrograde movement. And, you know, here, health-wise, it could be a retrograde movement for you as well. You know, it's in the 4th house, which is, you know, the house of the home, but it's also Cancer. And when we think of Cancer, we don't necessarily think of, you know, the term cancer or the malady, but I think of, you know, organs that Cancer is related to. You know, so we're talking things like the kidney, liver for sure, liver, bladder, pancreas. Those are all very Cancerian related organs. So, you know, I mean, you know, you've got Jupiter moving retrograde in the 4th house. And the good news is that Jupiter will move forward, and it does so, I believe, right at the end of the year. Let's find out just to make sure, because what you want to look at is that Jupiter conjunction, because that's to me that symbolizes getting stronger. So and regaining some of that you know, strong like ox, Jupiter Taurus mentality. So let's see what we got here. 2012, Jupiter has gone, let's see, January. So Jupiter goes all the way back to 0 degrees Taurus, and then it moves forward. So the retrograde motion ends in December, and it gets to your Jupiter very quickly in March. Now, I like that for you personally because it then begins to move up into your 6th house in Gemini. and the 6th house is the house of health. Now, you're going to go through a Jupiter-Sun opposition, but I don't necessarily think that that's bad, especially because your Sun is in the 12th house. So when we look at a Jupiter transit in the 6th house, it would be drawing your vitality and drawing your life force into this act of healing. So you've got the two suns, first sun, second sun opposition. I don't think that that's necessarily bad. I think you're on the road to recovery, Frank.
Oh yeah. It's just the last couple of days were pretty intense and everything. But being home here, and I go back again to the surgeon on Friday. He's got to undo some stuff that he put in. So.
I think one of the things that's going to come out of this for you is, Jupiter in the 6th house transit is also about purpose and, kind of a dharma, and I get the sense that what you're going to go through, and what you have been going through, what you will continue to go through, is going to help you kind of re-rack your purpose, and it's going to have to do with health. And so something's going to come out of this for you that is actually going to be quite useful. That's my sense.
Uh-huh.
And give you, because what's happened, right? Saturn in your 10th house went over your Neptune and went over your Saturn. And what's the 10th house? The 10th house is, it's career. It's what you bring to the world. So I would certainly look towards that Jupiter transit, at about 20 to 22, 23 degrees, where it begins to trine your Neptune and trine your Saturn, because now you have the benefit of what happened when you had the conjunction. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it does. So I've had a bunch of insights into the nature of pain and how that affects people and those kind of things, and how to let it loose so that it doesn't fixate and stop stuff. So or it could just be the medications too.
No, I'll put my money on the insight part of your nature, because you're a pretty wise individual. Pain is hard, man. When people are in pain, it is hard to function in the world. Really hard.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. I'll go back to listening to the rest of the show. It's great to talk to you again and hear you live. So,
it's good to hear your voice, Frank. It's good to see you back in the fold. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Our good friend Sarson. Pain. I've got the Saturn Neptune conjunction coming up next year. I'm not looking forward to it, by the way. I know I'm not fatalistic, but I'm not looking forward to that conjunction. Blech. Feels to me like it's a gateway, like it's the last gateway for me. That and Pluto over my Saturn, over my natal Saturn, which starts to happen for me next year as well. So fun times in the freaky astro world of Robert Phoenix. It's 11:41, and I think I'm going to wind the show down unless anybody else wants to call in and do a quick astrocartography session. What was I going to talk about? I was talking about Uranus and Aries, wasn't I? Oh, yeah. The surveillance grids. Have you got, so there's this new thing that they're busting out in Detroit, or Farmington, Michigan, called IntelliStreets. IntelliStreets. It's a system. So, okay, here you have a light, street light. Imagine a street light with a smart meter grid, wireless communication system attached to it, and a camera. These things are being employed now in Farmington, Michigan. So it's like, hey, we won't put cameras everywhere. We'll just hide them in lights.